A very wonderful and loving hello to all of you here for a new love tarot, a love oracle. And yes, you might be asking yourself, tell me what's going on with him, with your counterpart, your desired partner, your beloved. Why doesn't he want a relationship with me or see one happening? What's holding him back? Why not? Why is it such a back and forth, this constant indecision? And as soon as he gets a little closer, whoosh, he's gone again. Or maybe for some of you, he even told you, I don't want a relationship, just friendship, Or, no, a relationship isn't for me. Something like that. And you ask yourself why. Everything actually fits perfectly. You can feel it. You notice there's an incredible attraction. But you also ask yourself, is the attraction only on my side? That's what we're going to look at today. Why? What is stopping the other person from starting a committed partnership with you? Maybe for some of you, it's also the case that it's still a bit of a secret within a certain circle. Your contact is shown, but there's always some secrecy involved. Because we're going to look at what is stopping him or her from entering into a committed partnership, a serious relationship with you. Dear ones, we are working with the collective. The character cards are gender neutral. This is your counterpart, whether male or female. And collective readings, as you know, can't apply to everyone. Take from this what resonates with your situation and always adapt it for yourselves. And, I also bring examples here, right? And as I said, you adapt it accordingly. A heartfelt hug, a truly galactic thank you to all of you for your comments, and also to everyone who doesn't comment. You are here. And the fact that you are all here is an enormous gift for me. And for that, I thank you every single day, again and again. Yes, I also got this question from the collective, and you are always very welcome to write questions for the collective in the comments. But I want to mention again, the cards, the energies, they want a clear, specific question for the collective, right? So not something like, what happens if I stop taking him and what happens if I take him again? Yeah, what happens for yourself, for your counterpart? Those are countless questions that come up there. That's way too superficial, right? So just as an example now, if there's a question like, as I said, please be very specific. For example, yes, if the issue between you has always been that he had contact with other women, right? Then, for example, the question, if I get back into a relationship with him, would he stop having contact with other people, right? It also depends, do you want to know something about him or about yourself, right? But everyone who has already had a personal reading with me knows exactly how the process works, and we always manage to get it done. But especially for the collective, I always have to approach it a bit differently. So, but now I'd say, let's get started. What's going on? What's there? Then let's just take that one since it fell out so beautifully. And, I'm actually the type who draws cards, not the one who lets them jump out. But if it wants to show itself, of course, that's totally fine. Okay, why does he keep withdrawing? Why doesn't he want to enter into a relationship with you? What's holding him back? Right. Okay. What's Subsword S holding him back? Firstly, what is going on with him? What is going on inside him? Then we have the scythe. A burden. It's a burden. Maybe it's also the case that he's always very quick to break off the connection between you and him. This speed that is always here, because something always comes up here, which is very quick, a reaction. Maybe it's also the case that he's completely relaxed. You have contact or a personal meeting, and suddenly, boom, out of nowhere comes a different reaction. What's going on now? There, because something is on his mind. What exactly it is, what this sudden thing is, what's really going on. We'll go into this in depth later, what is really on his or her mind. And yes, but that's definitely a really big topic. Then we also have, yes, the public, right? The public is the part that's also a really big topic. That's the soups. I'm destroying everything here right now. That's because I always talk with my hands and feet. Even in the personal readings. I'm always like, boom, I'm always full of energy and right there with you. Yes, so that's how it is. They're public, right? something always holds him back from making it public, which I mentioned earlier, right? Maybe it's always about keeping this secret a secret, let's see. Maybe you've already been in a relationship before and the relationship had a certain radius. Up to that point, you were the partner, but not beyond that, right? There's always this secret, and slipping out of it, there was always something going on here. And that's a really big issue. For him, it has to do with being public. And that's just how it is. It always has to do with his environment. His environment is really, really, really influential. That could be friends, family, and yeah, he has some kind of facade that he keeps putting on, you know? Maybe with some people he feels safer on the internet, you know? So if you maybe have contact and you think, wow, he's so much more open when we're texting or something, or voice messages, text messages, whatever. He's much, much more relaxed, much more easygoing. And but then when it comes to meeting in person or something, he's kind of uptight. There's something there, you know? So there really is something stirring in your special someone's heart. But we also see movement, right? We see quite a bit of movement from your counterpart here, and a new beginning is being shown. Again, we have speed here, so something here, there's some kind of tension, you know. So I would say it's like pros and cons, you know. On the one hand, there's this bam, you know, there's a reaction coming from your counterpart where you think, hello, what's going on now? And on the other hand, inside, because, you know, I always see exactly in every single reading what's going on inside that person, inside that human being. But what concerns his inner self here is also what he shows you outwardly, what he makes known to you on the outside, so to speak. And that's also what's happening inside him right now. There's movement, you know. Something is starting to move very quickly, but it's something positive. There's a good feeling that comes with it. And again, there's this movement. He really has to take matters into his own hands here. He has to do something here. And again, there's movement. So there's no standstill here, no calm or anything like that inside him. No, there's real movement. So what else is moving here? Let's take a look. Yeah, okay. Again and again, there's withdrawal, you know. He suddenly pulls back again and again, you know. Then you might not hear or see anything from him at all. A relationship is like this kind of gasping for air where you think, hey, should I get you an oxygen tank and a tent? You know, something like that. That's the kind of reaction I keep seeing here. And he squirms around and always tries, like a snake in that sense, to wriggle out of it, to sneak his way through somehow. You know, maybe he never really gets to the point, straight to the point. And when he does get to the point, it's like bam, you know, something where you think, whoa, that was really cold. But that's just a brief reaction from him. It's simply because he just doesn't know what to do anymore at that moment. He also really likes to withdraw again and again. And that's where he feels safe, you know. So this isolation, this withdrawing, like we mentioned earlier, for example, with the internet, right? That there's still something going on there. So yes, for some people, as you know, these are just examples. Please always adapt them to your own situation. Even if you say, no, he's not on the internet at all. He doesn't have anything like that, you know. So no smartphone or anything like that. Then just adapt it. Maybe it's something else in your case, right? Maybe he just makes phone calls, you know, with a regular a regular cordless phone, yes. A landline phone, whatever it may be, so that this is the area that applies to you, right? Yes, definitely. We have the tower and he is lonely. He is incredibly lonely. And it's like this limitation that I mentioned earlier is shown again. So these boundaries, there's always this one boundary that he doesn't cross. The boundary, which also concerns, among other things, the relationship with you. But for himself, he has his own kind of boundary. This boundary is also related to the fact that there are really entanglements as well. On the one hand, it could be another woman, but it's not just another woman. It could also be family, friends, it's his environment. It definitely has to do with his environment. And there's quite a lot of toxic energy there, I would say, that's present in his surroundings. And for him, it's also like this. Everything is so complicated, so difficult. And then it gets complicated, it gets difficult when it comes to the relationship. We're talking about the topic of a relationship entering into one with you. These complications, all these entanglements, you know, And suddenly there's this movement. Wow, this feels so good. This is that positive momentum, and this good feeling. And then whoosh, all of a sudden this comes. Phew, no, everything's complicated. So many entanglements. And then because then something in reality always catches up with him or her again. But let's take another close look at what's going on here. Whether we can somehow get some movement going in terms of the tendency. And you also know that we include time in this as well. We look at time tendencies, but it's collective, okay? And time is always time. The universe doesn't know time. Time is fluid. You always control time. You all by yourself, okay? So let's take a look then. Oh, yes. Your sweetheart, your counterpart is really making things hard for themselves. Basically, I have to smile myself right now. These are the cards where I say, oh boy, why are you making it so hard, so complicated for yourself? Because actually, there's nothing here where he should see a problem. He's the one creating the problems for himself. He has these difficulties, even though love is there. So, love is absolutely there. And here's the thing, it hurts him too. He knows what he said to you, sometimes quite harshly. And with some of them, I also see the withdrawal from communication like this. It hurts him. I mean, just like some of you say, well, then just get in touch. Just write then. Just do it. But again, we have this blockage that your counterpart is totally insecure. He doesn't know how. He turns away. Now we have the snake here. And here we have the restlessness, this nervousness. He really doesn't even know what he should do, how to approach it the right way, because he wants. But he's completely afraid. These are his fears of getting too close. This is about directly engaging with the whole thing. Yes, he has blockages here, he has attachments. These are his or her issues from the past. Everyone has issues with their past. Me just as much as you. So everyone has them. But some people face their issues and say, hey, okay, for my own awareness, this is easy now because I have it completely in my own hands. But with him, it's like he's more or less running away. And he's also running away from love. So no matter what he has experienced, no matter what it was, I have wounds when it comes to love. So to touch on this again, I have wounds in love. I keep withdrawing again and again. Why him? We're at the question, why doesn't he or she want to enter into a committed life partnership with you? Some people have already been in a relationship. You two have already been together before. There was a very abrupt ending here, a boom sudden out of nowhere, just like that. And that was a knee-jerk reaction. It really was a knee-jerk reaction. That's what happened with him. All of it, so much pressure built up inside these feelings for you, these changes, this, oh God, I'm doing something wrong. Something can't be right here. I'm going to lose her again. And that sometimes jealousy comes into play too. For some people, and all of that kept building up, piling on more and more. And then, boom, the pressure cooker exploded. You know? And then you get that knee-jerk reaction where there's a breakup or a farewell, even if you were just in the getting to know each other phase. You know? Because it's like he stuffs everything that's bothering him, everything that touches his soul deep inside himself, everything that affects his psyche. That's what he completely swallows down. And yeah, and then bam, he keeps pulling away again and again. Yeah, but he's actually sad because he's really not doing well. Of course, he can't say it. He could change all of this. Why doesn't he start a relationship with you? It's also because you're gonna roll your eyes when I say this, and it's like you're too good for him. You know? You give warmth, you give security, you give confidence, understanding, sex appeal. You've got it all. You're warm. And this warmth you give him, this caring nature too. And it's a certain dose, a bit too much, that he can't handle. That's exactly it, because this warmth, he's not used to it. And he questions a lot of things. Is this real? Is it not real? It's not that he doesn't believe you. No, he just can't handle it. He can't handle it. And his biggest problem is with himself. He is his own problem, not you, definitely not. Because you're doing it wonderfully, just the way you are. As I said, maybe one thing or another was a bit too much. But when you have contact again, you need to dial it back a bit. Don't be too understanding. Don't ask too much about how he's doing. Let him come to you. So, not, hey, how are you? And I can tell you're not doing particularly well. Something's up, isn't it? Come on, just tell me, you know? Things like that. Or, hey, I'll do this for you. I'm here for you. Just ask me. It's no problem at all. It's more about taking a breath, stepping back, and letting him come to you. That means maybe you've always offered your help, as I said. And now, when you have contact again, you don't say anything at all. Why do I say when you have contact again? Because I see the two of you reconnecting, you know. When the contact is there again, just dial it down a bit. If he wants to tell you something or wants to know something from you, then he'll ask you, answer so that he has to ask you, you know. And then also try to reduce the amount of information you give, right? Keep it a bit shorter as well. Because with him, I sense this moment, you know, and that's where I see this activity happening. By the way, it's the same with him, you know, because he also has very strong fears of loss, and those are being triggered for him again. I don't really see him as someone who's good at multitasking either. And with him, it's also, you know, the case that you give so much, and he, like I mentioned earlier, feels like he can't give you or she can't give you what might make you happy. Because there I see the limitations. There's a bit of a barrier where he feels like he just can't do it. And that's what occupies him internally, what also confuses him at times, where he thinks, this just can't be. Why can't I make any progress here? Right? And then he tends to withdraw and says, no, no relationship. Because you really are something truly, truly wonderful for your counterpart. And there really is deep love involved here as well. And for him, it's too wonderful because he also sees for himself, I don't have this. I don't deserve it like this. I don't deserve it. And it's also about love, that he is loved so openly and honestly. For him, it's like, oh my God, if I go through with this now, then someone else will come along because she's such a wonderful person. He'll meet someone else and then she's gone, then I'll be replaced, swapped out. That's exactly the issue here. And in this case, he tends to withdraw again and again with one person or another, you know. So, as I said, this commitment, it could also be that you ended the relationship and say, well, now would actually be a good time to make a move. But then I see him kind of stuck there. It's the selfishness, you know. So if you ended the whole thing, the relationship, then for him it's like the ego is the little child that's been hurt here. Nope, you know. No, not happening, you know. That's how I see him, kind of sulking there. But as I said, that's just mentioned in passing because what I mainly see here is that he really struggles with the issue of losing you again, not being able to give you everything, not being able to make you happy because he doesn't know how, you know. Maybe it's also this lack of a romantic foundation or something like that in that area. Or this, but also this lack of understanding. Maybe you noticed it too. In a way, he wants or wanted to be more empathetic, but he just couldn't. And you thought, hey, a little more sensitivity from you would be really great, you know, and not this kind of tactlessness. That's because he's overwhelmed by it. He can't handle it. It's because he's so used to hardness, coldness, and this constant buff in his life, you know? Something more radical in his life. Just don't do anything wrong, you know? Don't show any more feelings, that sort of thing. And that's where that's a sensitive spot for him where he actually starts to panic. He can't. He wants to, you know, really, but he just can't do it. He doesn't know how to deal with it, you know? This empathetic thing being completely there for you. He can't really express himself in that way. And that's the thing. He sees that you're the one and he can't give you any of it. But I have the movement here, the activity here. That's what I said right at the beginning. You two are in contact, you know. The contact is there. And when the contact is there and here it comes up, whenever it started to get more emotional or even about the relationship or something like that, bam, gone, you know. That's at that point, he doesn't know how to argue anymore. It's like, no, 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 I just can't do it. I can't give her everything she deserves. Because he really sees you as truly wonderful, as a real treasure, you know? And, well, the planet of happiness. So then comes this reaction, but then inside him, it's also shown this movement that it hurts him, the reaction, because then comes the heartache, then it hurts. That's when the disappointment comes. The disappointment in himself, what he has done, always retreating again and again. He can't enter into the relationship, but then again, here comes the movement, the new beginning, this good, this positive feeling. And again, that he himself has to take matters into his own hands. Only he can change it, because you are the gem, the treasure that's there. And he knows he has to do something, he has to change something, he has to work through his issues. And it's not just that he knows he has to do it, but he will actually do it, because I see the movement here, because he knows on a conscious level, he knows it's wrong. And he's been fooling himself. These are his own fears, false, unfounded fears, unnecessary worries, wrong actions. He knows that if he doesn't know it yet, well, let's say 1 or 2 days, well, weeks, months, for him to really reach that level of awareness. I'd say 1 or 2 days is a bit too short here, but I'm thinking more in the range of weeks or months because I still see a little bit of that left. But I have it completely, the turning point for the better. I see it in the process of healing and it's deepening. It goes deeper and deeper and deeper. And so it moves out of withdrawal. The stress factor for him is, I can't do this. But it's increasingly moving towards determination. Yes, I can, because I know that I love this woman. And there is this togetherness, because he will then also try, so it could be that his facade starts to crumble a little and he kind of needs your support, just a little bit. Because I also see here that he's a bit awkward. So surrender. And that's where the support comes in, because I see this togetherness between the two of you. But the reason he can't enter into the relationship, the reason he keeps running away is because on the one hand, he's really afraid that he can't give you what you deserve. You're probably saying, no, yeah, but why? Right? He just needs to be himself. Just talk, right? Because when it comes to talking, that's not really his thing either. Sometimes he's also a bit dishonest about that, he kind of beats around the bush or says nothing at all, and then bam, he withdraws again, that kind of thing. Yeah. And on the other hand, as I said, it's because he really sees you as, well, like a raw diamond, like a huge treasure, the lucky star. And that's like, whoo, wow, this woman is amazing. She's absolutely incredible. Her whole aura, it's like everything changes and then suddenly, bam, he's gone. That's his issue. He's really, really afraid of that. And that's because his own self-confidence is actually pretty much at rock bottom, really, really at rock bottom. Yeah, but we also see some beautiful progress here again. So from that perspective, things are really looking good. We have movement. He notices it. He knows it too. So as I said, even if he doesn't realize it right now, he will, because I see this short phase here. Now we have the flowers, and that means he's starting to see more and more of the beauty. And it keeps surprising him, this unexpectedness, this touching of the heart, and the fact that he doesn't want to give you up. He hasn't let you go at all yet. Definitely not. Not after this collective reading. And here it comes, because as I said earlier, I see communication happening again between the two of you. How you approach this communication, that's entirely up to you. But I definitely see him here. He's also thinking about something because he really has a surprise in store for you here. Well, it could very well be that he suddenly shows up at your door or somehow sends you an invitation, either in writing or as a voice message out of nowhere. Suddenly, this invitation, this surprise, arrives. And yes, of course, he does have some doubts about whether you even want it anymore, whether you would accept the invitation. But he's going to overcome his own fears. He really is going to try. So then we also have the profound intuitive sign of Pisces. And with Pisces, it's precisely the same. Something significant and deeply impactful is being set in motion here, because their innermost self, their deepest, most profound inner being, is speaking directly and clearly to them, whether male or female. And with these points of contact, it's also the case that he sees them too. And he's also letting go more of these material values. Whatever the issue is, he can't offer you everything. That's one of the things that's also on his mind. But here, it's really true. This soul connection is very, very, very intense. No matter how long it has existed between the two of you, your connection, this bond between you two was never broken and cannot be broken. If it does get separated, maybe after a quarter or half an hour, bam, it's back together again. So there are really, really a lot of feelings involved. That's what he has always kept from you. In this secrecy, though, here, the feelings, the love will take the lead. All right, my dears, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for watching, and I wish you a wonderfully magical rest of your day. Goodbye.